All right, so good evening. We're waiting for people to join in. All right, great. Hi, good evening. We're just waiting for people to join in. Just 30 seconds and we're going to start the session. All right, so if you can give me please likes, thank you very much. Yes, if you can see me very well, give me heart. Okay, give me likes and hearts. Thank you very much. Hi, good evening. We're just waiting for people. All right, let me just put my phone aside. All right, so that's very good. I was just checking my Facebook. Thank you very much. If you can see me very well, you can hear my voice very well, give me likes and hearts. Thank you very much. Yes, I can see a lot of love, a lot of hearts and likes. Thanks a lot for that. Good evening. Yes, and here we have Dua. Thank you very much, Taraf. Yes, I'll do. All right, that's great. So yes, good evening and most welcome to this live session streamed to you by Queen Rania Teacher Academy. The title of the session is about students' engagement in an online English language environment. And I'm with you. I'm Uday Ababni. I'm an English teacher, educator. We've got a lot of problems these days, or maybe at the beginning of the year, we started with a lot of problems. And these are facing teachers and students alike. And the thing is, because of the global pandemic, coronavirus is just causing a lot of troubles to teachers and students. In this session, we're going to look how we can help students. In language, in an English language environment, we're going to look at apps, all for free. You don't need to pay anything at all. You can use them if you're teaching online, if you're teaching offline, you can use them. You can share them with your students. And keep them engaged. That's very interesting. So yes, thank you very much for all the hearts and likes that you give me. Another thing that I want to say is that this is another live session that's streamed to you by QRTA. For the people who've just joined, we continue with you with a live session every week on a particular topic. We go on air either on Saturday or Sunday. That depends on time slots, available time slots for the trainers. All right, so let's go straight forward to what we are going to, or to the session. So first of all, I'm going to share with you my screen, and here I am. Before we start, I want to just talk about something that's very, very important, is that when, for example, you want to teach, you should have an application. And I know that a lot of teachers, maybe schools, what they do is that they have either, for example, MS Teams, Microsoft Teams 365, or they have, for example, Google Classroom, or they have, for example, WebEx, or they might have Skype or whatever. Whatever you have, you should have, first of all, you should have an application where you can get in touch with your students. This is very, very important. One is asking me here is, can you just record it, please? Yes, it's recording, and you can watch that after the session. So what you need to do first of all, if you don't have any of these apps, if your school is not subscribed to any of these apps, no problem, don't worry at all. What you need to do is just you can download them, install them in your desktop, and you can use them right away with your students. This is very, very important. So now let's just start with the first thing. If I'm teaching, let's say, an English, I'm giving a class, an English lesson, and one of the things that teachers sometimes ask me, or most of the time, is that how I'm going to keep my students engaged. It's only me who's doing the teaching and sometimes learning, because I can't see my students. I don't have any contact with them. So I'm going to show you an app that you can use for free. All what you can do is that you go to the browser and you click on Padlet. Padlet is a free app that you can use. You don't need to pay anything for that. What you need to do is that you have to have a Gmail account. And this is, I advise you that you have a Gmail account, because all of the apps you need, all of the apps that I'm going to show you today, you need to have a Gmail account. So what you're going to do is that you're going to click on make Padlet, you click on it. And then what you do is that you have, as you can see on the screen, you have different shapes, how you want, for example, the Padlet to look like. So I usually go to grid and I select, for example, here, I click on the grid and I go to this one. Now, as you can see that I have my page in here. So what I need to do is I click on this. So for example, the title for this is going to be speaking class. This is what I want. And here I want to give a task for my students. So for example, describe how you spent your Friday, during the lockdown, right? So here, describe how you spent Friday during the lockdown. I click on next and then start posting. And then what I do is that I click on share. And then my students up to this point, they haven't got the link yet. So I click on share and then scroll down, copy link to clipboard. You click on this, and then you go and you share it with your students in the chat box. If you're using Zoom, if you're using Google Classroom, if you're using, for example, Skype, whatever, you can share it with your students. And then when you share it, I'm going to show you how your students are going to see that. You click on it. All right, so here it is. So what they're going to do, your students are going to just double click on it. So for example, they need to write their names in here, and then they are going to, for example, write 2 or 3 sentences. This is very, very good when you start your sentence. When you start your lesson, is that you share with them a question. So instead of you talking, you can share that question with the students and you can monitor what they're doing. Let me just look at the comments that are coming from you. Hello, Rauhi. So it's really a good opportunity to share ideas about student engagement in the classroom during the pandemic. Yes, thank you very much for that. We have here, right, so proud of friends like you. Okay, thank you very much. Again, we have Rauhi, he said the role of parents arise in establishing class disciplines. Yes, I agree with you. So please, please, please put your questions here and I try to answer them as fast as possible. Right, so here, for example, I have 20 students, 15, 20, 25 students. What you need to do, just like double click and they can write sentences. While the students are doing this, you can monitor them, you can see them, you can see what they're doing. So if you have, for example, a list of your students' names, then you can say, oh, Zaid, I can see that you're not working. What's happening? Just work on that. This is wonderful and interesting. Now, another thing that you can use with Padlet is, for example, sorry, I didn't share that. I should have put in here. Another thing that you need to, or you can do with your students is, for example, maybe is, for example, that they can record themselves speaking. I mean, what if, for example, I'm teaching primary, early grades, 1, 2, 3, or 4. You know, these students, they face difficulty. They find it a bit difficult typing or writing. No problem at all. Then what you can do, you go to the 3 dots here, then you click on it. Click on the 3 dots, and you can see that we have a lot of options here. Then what you can do, just like click on voice, and once, for example, they click on voice, the students can record themselves. They record themselves and they save it. And as a teacher, you can look at it back again. So for example, I'm going to do it, but first of all, let me check if I'm connecting the sound. So I'm going to share the screen again. All right. All right, wonderful. So let me say that I have a child who's in grade 2, can't write, maybe can't type, it's very difficult, it takes time. Then what the students can do, they can record themselves. So they say, hi, yes, I had a wonderful Friday with my family. We had a barbecue in the house, etc., etc. Then they stop it and they play back and save. They save it. The good thing about it is that after they save it, you as a teacher can look at it and you can give feedback to your students. That's really, really wonderful. All right, so that's one of the things that you can do with the KG students, for example, KG kids. They can put their drawings, they can take a picture for themselves, picture for the family, and they talk about it. Let me just look at the questions in here. What we have here, we have Dua. Hi Dua, do my students have to have Padlet accounts? No, they don't, and that's why they need to write their names in there. All right, questions here. All right, so is it great? Taraf, hi Taraf. So Taraf saying, hi, Alda is a great, we use it with students and they loved it. I think that she means Alda or Padlet, I'm not sure about that. All right, so that's the thing. Now, let me show you what you can do. So first of all, you started this activity with your students, just put a question, or you ask them, for example, to put drawing, then they can talk about it. The other thing they can do with that is that if you go, for example, this is my page, and the Edge Explorer or the Microsoft Edge, this is the students, how the students watch it or look at it. Then what you need to do is that you go to the modify button here, and then if you scroll down the page, you can see that we've got comments. So if you click on comments and save, all right, and then you close it, then the students will be able to give comments to each other. I'm going to show you one that I've already prepared with my students. Here it is. Okay, so here we go. Right, so let me say that I've got all of these responses from my students, and what I do is that the first time is that, okay, you put your question, you put your input on the question there, but now I want you to give feedback, maybe you comment on your partner. Then what you can do, very simple, is that you go here, right, again, and then what you do, you click on comments, you activate it, and the students will be able to write comments. Another thing that you can do on Padlet is that if you want, for example, students, after they're done, you want them to like it, you want them, for example, to comment on it, you want them to grade it, or you want to grade it yourself, then what you need to do, again, you go to the modify button, you scroll down, and then here, reactions. You click on reactions, you can, for example, choose like, you want, for example, if the students should read the list, and if they like it, they can click on it, they can vote, they can vote on it, they can star it, or they can grade it. So for example, here back to my Padlet, this is, I've done it with a group of participants in a workshop. If, for example, I click on this and the modify button, then I go down, I scroll down here, and I have reactions, then I want the grades, for example, and then back again, and I save it, and I say, okay, I want you to give a grade, for example, for your partner, and then you'll be able to grade it, and you will be able to give, for example, 6 or 5 or whatever. All right, let me see if I've got questions. Questions. All right. Wonderful, great. I think that's, yes. Hi, Rola. Padlet is a very useful tool that could be used to brainstorm ideas, icebreaker, and many other activities. Yes, I agree with you. Here we have Ranush. Hello, Ranush. She's saying very important idea to engage students. Using Padlet provides opportunities for direct communication. Yes, I agree with you. And by the way, Padlet has a lot of features, a lot of other features. So here, for example, I'm going to show you another thing that I did with my students. This is a writing task where, for example, teachers ask, like in writing, how I do it. So yes, what you can do, just like open a link, and then your students will write. So these are for my students in grade 12. They don't mind me sharing these. So what I can, as you can see, that I've got 6 students who did their writing on Padlet. Then at they did this in 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Then at the end, I would ask my students, okay, I want you now to give feedback to your friend. The third time, I want you, for example, to grade. How much would you give your friend? Because sometimes students learn from each other, and they're more satisfied when the teacher gives them a grade or something. Okay, the last thing that I want to share with you in Padlet, but let me just take this comment. The teachers' problems are not with the programs of technology. Teachers need methods, real methods of motivation. Understood. That's why we're showing Padlet, because that's a methodology, that's a tool that you can use with teachers, but you are the one who is controlling and managing it. Motivation, really actually students and teachers suffer an engagement in the lesson. Moreover, these technologies are not available for all students. I agree, but these can be available on their phones. And I think that a lot of students these days have got, at least they have a mobile phone with them, that they can use these. They can use these applications. They don't need an account, and you don't need, as a teacher, you don't need to pay anything, all for free for you and for the students. Okay, so the last thing is that one of the teachers one time asked me, what, for example, if my students, let's say, write bad words? I'm really sorry for that. What if my students, for example, write bad words and they don't know who did it? So the good thing about Padlet is that you scroll down the page, you go to modify button again. If you scroll down the page, you have filter profanity. If you click on this, it has a database of all bad words, and excuse my language, has a database of all bad words in it. And if, for example, a student tries maybe a bad word or something, it will immediately convert that into an emoji. So you don't need to worry about that at all. It's safe. You can use it with your students. It's interesting. I know that a lot of teachers are using it in storytelling. They're using it in writing. They're using it from KG, from K to 12. All right, here we have Dr. Khalid. The teacher's problem. Oh, okay, sorry, we read this comment. Thank you very much. Here we have, okay, so let me see. If you've got comments, thank you very much for all the likes. Dua, we have, can this be used for a writing test? Yes, you can use it. You can open a Padlet with them and you can watch students typing. That's really good. Peer feedback does get students engaged. Yes, I agree. Tasneem, we have, how can we prevent isolation in these applications and build a learning community? Sorry, what do you mean by how can we prevent isolation in these applications? Can you just like explain that? But I'm not sure what you mean by this. All right, so that's the first thing. We're done with Padlet. Now, what we want to do is I'm going to take you to another thing that you can use, but I'm going to keep, for example, this open. The other thing is that you can use for a free is called Screencast-O-Matic. This is a free app that you can use. You don't need to pay anything. All you need to do is just you have your Gmail account and you will log in using the Gmail account. And all what you need to do is that once you're logged in, you need to launch your recorder. Now, the thing is, and this is what most of the teachers ask me, how can I give feedback to my students? If, for example, they send me a voice message, if, for example, they send me a handwritten assignment, if they send me, for example, a drawing, if they send me this, how can I give feedback? Because we know that when you give an assignment, as teacher, we know that when you give an assignment, if you don't give feedback to your students, they don't care the second time or the third time. They'll just say, the teacher's not caring, why should I not do it? So once you launch it and it's installed in your desktop, the thing that you can do is you open it. So I'm going to open it from my desktop. I'm going to show you how it works. All right, so let me see the questions. Hello, Rauhi. Anything attractive to students is need to check that students are engaged in this new environment. Yes, I agree with you. And it's most important is that, you know, I noticed that some teachers, you know, say, oh, we tried this, we've tried, but it didn't work. Yes, of course, it didn't work because it's the first time you've tried it. Students are not used to it. What you need to do is just you need to practice that with your students. Take one free lesson or 2 free lessons, or just bring your students, tell them, all right, today we're going to do this practice. We're not going to do anything else. We're going to do this practice. So once you do it, it becomes a habit and your students will get used to it. What you need to do with this is that once you download it, then you click on the recorder or record button, then you will be able to record. So I'm going to show you one of my students. She sent me, where is that? Let me just check. All right, here it is. She sent me an assignment. She doesn't mind me even sharing that. She sent me the assignment on WhatsApp, and I know that a lot of teachers in these days they receive maybe they have their students' homework sent to them on WhatsApp. So yes, and she shared that with me. How would I give her feedback? Then you look at, for example, the 3 pages. What you need to do is just like you click on record, and if you click on record, for example, now I can record, and you can hear. I can record. Whatever I'm saying now, it's recorded and I can share that with my students. But what I want now here is not this. What I want is I want the page itself. Then I'm going to open the page in here. all right? And then what I want is that, for example, if I look at the size, I want that full screen because I want my students to see that. Now, the good thing about it, about screencasts, is that you can edit and create. So you can use, for example, a highlighter, you can use a pen, you can mark it, you can show that to you can mark certain words, maybe phrases, content, language you want to share with your students, you just want to drag their attention, you've made a mistake here, you've made a good point here, etc., etc. Let me show you one recording that I did for my students. Just going to be very, very short. And please give me a like or give me a heart that you can listen to that. But let me, and after that, I'm going to take the questions. All right, but this is not the same assignment. This is from another student.
Okay, Nabila, thank you very much for writing this. As you can see, that this looks quite better than the previous exercises or previous assignments. On the top here, you said the purpose of this online promotion is to encourage people to try the cruise holiday.
All right, so I think that you've got it now, is that you can share that with your students. Now, another thing for screencast-o-matic is that if, for example, students in the primary, they send you, for example, a picture you know, because we're language teachers, we sometimes ask them to, all right, I want you to put this picture, I want you to describe it. Or for example, have a picture of your family or a photograph or anything, upload it and talk about it. And we say, how are we going to give feedback? So this is a wonderful app that you can give feedback to your students and you still can get feedback from your students. Then let me just take this question. Mr. Dai, can we can use some applications to make active worksheet also. I think it's a good idea to insert it in a Padlet. Yes, sure, because you know all the apps, they work back to back together. I mean, you can integrate all of them together. It's not only just one app that's used for the whole lesson. You can use more than one app. Here we have Hadil. Hi, hello Hadil. How can we activate these great applications in schools? The lack of technologies means you don't need, as again, what we need to do, just if you have your phone, you still can do it. If you have your phone and internet, you can do it. Don't worry about that. You don't need to have a laptop. You don't need to have a PC. If you have just the minimum, the basic, if you have a mobile phone, smartphone, you still can do that and you can plot these, you can work on them. But just to clarify that screencast-o-matic doesn't work on mobile phones, it's not applicable, but there are other apps that have similar features that they can work. Now, another thing that we can do, hello Mais, is there English to Arabic interpretation? Do you mean for the session? Interpretation? Oh, I'm really sorry. But if you want, you can ask in Arabic and I can read that and reply in English. I'm really sorry for that. The other thing is that I find in screencast-o-matic is that, for example, when I want to test my students, I just want to say, all right, I give them a task. I say, all right, I want you to, for example, prepare a PowerPoint and I want you to read it. I just want to check your reading. I want to see how you read that. My students can do it. So I'm going to share with you my presentation. This is like a presentation that I prepared and where, for example, my students can record it and show that to me. So here's, for example, a text. Do you know what the text is about? Do you know which language is this? You got it. Turkish. Excellent. All right. So what you do is the size. You don't want full screen. What you want is you want 480 and you can maximize it. And this goes with you here. Just a second. I'm trying to do it. All right. Okay. All right. So for example, I want my student to record this. Just a second. All right. All right, I want my student to record this and send it to me. Then they can, he or she can post it on Padlet for my feedback, or they can WhatsApp it to me or whatever. Then I'm going to record it. I'm really sorry. I'm just going to read half of it quickly. All right, so here we go. 3, 2. Okay. Civil hava ala lore helicopter nishkal kish ala lore didniz hava tisis lore civil hava jalakta holun jaker turulu nishkal kish bislenen yer sechamen ait sekretelere bilir الملك او يقول ملره دينت لمك جنل مدير المزن سرم لندر. I'm not going to carry on with that. So if I just stop that, and then I can save it as a student. They can save it. They just click on done. And then if they click on done, they can save it as a video on their desktop, and they share it with me. And as a teacher, I can open it and I can still give feedback on that. I'm really sorry. I just practiced in this Turkish before the session. My reading in Turkish is not as good as English. All right, so let me see the questions in here. Hanan, hello Hanan. These apps are good to encourage peer assessment and feedback. Agree. And here we have Rula, Turkish. Thanks a lot. Dua says, sorry, but what's the app that you are working on now? It's called Screen-O-Matic. Screencast-O-Matic. All right, Screencast-O-Matic. Wonderful. All right. Any questions? Please tell reviewers that your students aren't school students. They are QRTA students. And I don't know what you mean by QRTA students. No, I teach, by the way, I teach, I give classes. We know that a teacher is a teacher. So it's not only just like we give classes to our diploma students, but we give also classes to students in school, to students outside. Okay, wonderful. Very good idea. Here's Hiba. Hello, Hiba. Hiba says, or saying, very good idea, tool, just speaking through remote learning. That's very good, interesting. Okay, then I'm going to delete this. I don't want it, but if you want it, you can save it and you can see that. And you can give, you can give a grade on that thing. Wonderful. Okay. So let me just check my, yes. So we're done now with the Padlet, we're done with the Screencast-O-Matic. Oh, now we come to the a wonderful application that a lot of teachers these days, and they find it very, very difficult to engage their students. Like in a physical learning environment or in person, in person teaching, is that the teachers say, all right, you know, I can have my students work in groups, maybe for example 3, 4, 5, maybe 6, or they can work for example in pairs. How can I do this online? It's very difficult, and I can't do it. What I'm going to show you is that you can have an app called Zoom, and this is one of the best apps. I'm sorry, I'm not promoting for it, but this is one of the best apps I found. Usually when I teach my students is that to share it with them, because let's say that I have 10 or 15 or 20 students, you know, they're sitting. If I give for them, for example, a question or a task, and the students are waiting for me to choose, all right, for example, Zaid, Fatma, Taline, whoever, just like answer this question, then what about the 15 students? And can't spend the whole time me talking. Sorry, I'm talking now because this is the structure, this is the format of the session. But usually in the classroom, it's much more of the students, much less of me, much more of students, much less of me. So I'm going to show you how you can do that on Zoom. What we can do is you need to activate something called breakout rooms. And breakout rooms is a great feature. Breakout rooms simply is that you put students into groups. They can work in pairs, they can work in threes, they can work in fours. Let's have a look and see how this works. So what I need to do is just I need to go to Zoom. All right. I click on Zoom. Again, what you need to do, you need to have an account. So here, for example, here what we have is that we have hosting a meeting or joining a meeting. Sorry. Need to go back again. All right, so what you need to do, you need to sign in, and you need to sign in with your Gmail account. So you sign in. By the way, this is for free. And then you put your Gmail account and you sign in. All right. And all you need to do now here is that after you're signed in, you need to go to settings. It's on the left side. You click on settings. You scroll down. You need to scroll down to the advanced settings, not the basic ones. This is a meeting basic. You need to go to the advanced ones. Meeting, all right, in meeting advanced, and then you need to activate something called breakout rooms. And you can see that already activated that. And then once, for example, I return back and I schedule the meeting with my students. Once the meeting starts, I can put my students in breakout rooms. You and I are going to watch a video. Kev is working behind the screens. She's a great lady. She's going now to play. She's going to show us the video that I prepared. It's going to take 3 minutes. After that, I'm going to look at the questions. So Kefa, can you please play the video?
In the short video, I'm going to show you how you're going to create breakout rooms. So let's go, for example, to the meeting or to the class that I've already scheduled in my Google Class or in my Google Calendar. Then I would click on Start here to start the meeting. It's going to take a few seconds and the meeting will start. Here we go. So at the bottom here, you can see that we have the option breakout rooms, and this is the one that we activated from the advanced settings. If I click on it, and then it gives me this message, or this window. It says create the number of rooms. It can create up to 49 rooms, breakout rooms, assign automatically if I want, for example, the students to, let's say that I have 10 students and I want the students to be paired up, for example, to work together, or maybe in 3s or 4s or 5s or 6s, whatever. So let's say, for example, I have 10 students and I want them to work in five, for example, pairs. Then what I do is that I click on this 5, then every 2 students will work as a pair. The thing now here is that it's automatically, which means that the system will randomly select the students and put them in breakout rooms. Or if I want, for example, I see that this student maybe talks, is a bit talkative, and I want, for example, this one to work with, for example, X student, then I would just click on assign manually. It will give me the option to assign them manually. Or, for example, I can do this by letting students choose which room. I open the rooms and let them choose which room they want to go to. Then if I click, for example, if I click on assign automatically and I click on create, it will open the rooms. Up to now, the rooms haven't been open yet, but actually the rooms have been prepared for the participants or the students to join. I have here the option here, which is click. I click on the options here, which shows me or gives me past messages. It says that allow participants to choose a room. No, I want to assign them automatically. Allow participants to return to the main session at any time. I do this usually with adolescents. So, for example, grade 9, 10, 11, 12. But I didn't do it. I didn't do it with students from 4, let's say, to 6, because they keep returning back to the main session. Automatically move all assigned participants into breakout rooms. Yes. Breakout rooms close automatically after 4 minutes. Now, this one decides how long you want the activity, or I want the activity to be. So let's say 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. Usually I keep it a bit short. So for example, this one, I'm going to keep it for 2 minutes, and then can count down after closing breakout room in 30 seconds. So this will notify, there will be a short message popping into the room, in each room, telling the students that you have 30 seconds left. And I say yes, and then I open the rooms, and all the students now will join. If I open the rooms, they will receive a message popping into their screens asking them to join the rooms. And that's the way how the breakout rooms work. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much for watching. I'm going to share my screen again. Thank you very much for watching this. I just want to say that the notification message is received just before the breakout room is closed. So let's say, for example, I put that 30 seconds or 40 seconds or 1 minute, it will notify, it just pops up on the screen that yes, the meeting is going to be over in 30 seconds or 45 seconds or whatever. All right, so I'm going to share my screen again. Okay, we have here Shaima Namruti. Good evening. Hello, Shaima. We're using Microsoft Teams, and I guess it's much better than Zoom. It has more options. I agree with you 100%. But one thing is that Microsoft Teams doesn't have the facility or the feature of breakout rooms. It does only have breakout rooms for three rooms only, plus the main session. And teachers are struggling. I know a lot of teachers in Jordan and Amman, they're struggling with this with Zoom. I know that's more advanced, more secure, but this feature still. I got in touch with Microsoft Teams, and they said that I got in touch with them last month, and they said that they were working on it, I got in touch with them even last week, and they said that they are going to launch it at the end of November. Unfortunately, teachers can't use it. Another thing, by the way, is once, for example, you need the breakout rooms, even the facilities that, or the feature that it is now, is that the teacher has to go to the teams and has to go to the class, and they need to open the rooms from the channel, and takes time. This is time consuming, and I know that teachers not, they don't have even time for that, because teaching, online is even taking more time than teaching offline or than teaching in person. So the Zoom here is wonderful. So I don't see it a problem that if you're using, for example, the Teams, when you have, for example, a speaking lesson, why not, for example, taking your students or directing your students to the Zoom? That's wonderful and really engaging. All right, so here we have another, Amal. Hello, Amal, thanks a lot. Okay, most welcome. And we have Omar. Hello, Omar. I'm asking whether the session is recorded or not. It's recorded, my dear. Shema again says here, Zoom is dwarf compared to Microsoft Teams, but Zoom is easy. So agree, now we agree, we're on the same page. Khaled, hello Khaled, he's saying very engaging, informative. Thank you very much, Sharaf. This is great for cooperation between students. Thank you very much, Sharaf. Here we have Rakan Al-Quran. So breakout rooms are just like the group work in the class. Yes, my dear, that's really good. You pop into each room and then you listen to what students are doing. And this is really, really great. You can help them, you can shuffle between the rooms. And that's what I do when I teach a group of students. You can do it with 4. Now, if you do, for example, if you teach 3 people, then you don't need to, even on Teams, you don't need to put them in breakout rooms because this would sound silly. Then what I do is that I say to them, okay, I want you now to work as one group. What I do is that I turn off my camera, I also turn off I mute myself and disappear. That's what I do, all right? But I keep actually listening to what the students are working. That's one of the wonderful things I do. All right, we have Hadil here. Hello Hadil, we do also use the breakdown, I think the breakout room feature on Google Meet. Yes, it's used there. But the thing is that you can't use it if you don't have Google Suites. I think that you need to have a subscription on that. You can't do it for free, but here you can do it for free. On Zoom, you can do the lesson up to 45 minutes. And if you're a regular user, sometimes they give you more than 45 minutes. And if you need to subscribe, it's very cheap. It takes just only 7 GDs or 8 GDs per month. I'm sorry, 10 GDs. All right, Wajdi. Hello, Wajdi. You're a great man. Thank you very much, my dear. All right, Rakan, here we have, it's wonderful to hear your voice. Oh, thank you very much for that. I just need to see, here we have Dua. We use Zoom at my school. I use breakout rooms and polls. That's amazing. Yes, that's very good. Rohi, hello again. Breakout rooms is very useful facility to make students engage in online classes. Yes, I agree. Najwan, hello Najwan, give us another live about online assessment, please. Yes, inshallah, we'll do that. We'll arrange that with the management, with the communications department, and we'll see how we can do more live sessions. We've got great people, great teachers, great trainers at QRTA who come on air every week, and they give a lot of tips and practical, let me say, practical advice on how to work in such an unprecedented situation. So yes, here we have Muhammad. Hello, Muhammad. You've been missed. In Zoom, you can save the session in MP3 format, light size format to be shared. Yes, I agree with you. Thank you very much for this comment. You can save it, you can share it with your students, you can watch it again. All right, so time's running fast, 40 minutes. We've got 20 minutes left for this session. So let me go now to Google Docs and let's see what we have in Google Docs. And this is for free as well. All the 3 apps that we've used so far, they're for free. You don't need to pay anything. Not you, not the students, not school, not everyone, not anyone. Let me go to Zoom. Sorry, not Zoom. I want to go to Google. I want to close these first. All right, so what you need to do, now what we need is we have something called Google Docs, and I usually find these very interesting, very useful. And I recommend them to anyone who asks me, how can I engage my students? What I need to do, for example, when I give a live session or a live class, or how can I engage them even when they are when they're working at their self-paced. Then what you need to do, you need to go on the top right side here, the dots or the waffle. So you click on that and then you go to Drive, you click on Drive, and then from Drive, you can go to New, and then from New you go to Docs. Right, it's taking time in here. All right, you go to Docs. Another thing that you can do from the waffle, immediately, if you scroll down, you can go to Docs. Okay, so I'm going to show you how you can use Docs with your students. So let's say, for example, that you are teaching, again, you're teaching speaking. And by the way, I'm very, very interested in speaking as a skill, because I know that teachers, because I used to do that, I know that maybe it's quite easy to teach reading comprehension, to teach grammar, to teach vocabulary, but sometimes it's very, very challenging, very difficult how to teach, for example, speaking online. That's still an obstacle for teachers and schools. I can see that. Then what you need to do, let's say I want to start an assignment, a short task with my students, then I need to open a link, open a file, all right, a page. Then what I do here is that I'm going to save this. For example, it's going to be speaking. Let me just say if it has taken it. Do you have any questions in here? How far is the breakout room successful facility in online classes? It's very, very successful. All right, it's taking a bit time in here. All right. Okay, so this is my speaking. I'm going to show you a lesson that I want to do with my students. For example, I'm teaching story. Not story, I'm helping my students to tell a story. And then what I need to do is that I have, for example, 20 students in my class that's online. And I want to put, for example, 4 in each group, or maybe 5 in each group. And I want 5 people to work together while I'm monitoring and watching those people work together. Then what I need to do is, let's say that I have, for example, 5 students. Let me first show you my lesson for this, all right, or my activity for this. We go to the folder here, open the folder, and then I go to Google Forms. And in Google Forms, I have, for example, sorry, it's not Google Forms, it's Google Docs. My apology. I need to go to Google Docs, and from Google Docs, I go here. Now, when teaching is speaking, I sometimes look at brilliant ideas and how, for example, I can develop these ideas into big activities. And there is a difference, by the way, between an activity and an exercise and a task. Maybe we can do that later, or we can talk about them later on. So here, for example, this is my favorite cup of tea exercise. I love it. I like it very much. So here is, for example, comic strip. This is called comic strip. And there is like an application online. If you want, you can do that. It's really wonderful. You can apply. So here, what I need to do is that, let me say that I want to show this to my students. I want to tell them that this is my uncle, all right? And he is quite obese. He's fat. And he wanted to lose weight. And he looked at himself in the mirror in the morning. He woke up in the morning, looked at himself in the mirror. He didn't like it. He looked at a book. He just took some advice, and then he started drawing it, and that was the thing. So what I want is that I want my students every 4 or 5 to work in a dialogue for this. What could be the dialogue for this? How can they write it, and then they can speak it out? Let me just share that with you. First thing is that I need to take screenshots for this, then control and print screen. I go to Paint. I'm not going to do it all, but I'm just going to show you what I'm going to do. I go here, I open it. Please open fast. All right, that's good. And then I'm going to take only one of this. Is that one? Or you can take 2, for example. If you want students to work in 2 groups, then no problem. But I usually prefer to work, and I prefer that they work in small groups because I can have control on them. Not control as control, but I can monitor and provide support. And the students also find kind of challenge in that. You need to take it, and then what you do is that you need to insert a table in it. And the table is, you need, for example, 5 students or 4 groups. And here you need to just, for example, say group A. And I just leave space for group A, and then I leave space for group B in here. All right. This is a group B, and this is a group, let's say C. And this is a group D. I need to be a bit faster. All right. I'm not going to do it for all, but I'm just going to show you what we can do for that. This is group D. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in here. And what I want is that this is S1, and S1 means speaker 1, and this is S2, and this is speaker 2. And I just keep rolling these over S1, and this is here S2. And my students, I put them in 4 groups. How can I do that? If I have a list of my students in here, then I say, Taleen, Salma, Hiba, Rula, I want you to work in one group. For example, Fatima, Ahmed, Zaid, I want you to work in another group. You're group A, or group B, or group C, etc., etc. I put them in groups, and the students start working right away. Now, if I open this, I need to share it with my students. Now, the thing I can do is you go to on the top here, share. If you click on share, all right, as you can see here, you can invite students if you have already their emails, and you can have them, but you don't need to have any accounts. The students don't need to have any emails at all. Then what you need to do is that you scroll down here, all right, and get links. So if you scroll down on this one, and then as you can see here that we've got a viewer, then if I share this link with my students, they will not be able to write, they will not be able to do anything in it. Just look at it. And I don't want this, I want them to be editors. Then I click on copy link and then done. And then what I do is that share the link with my students. So when I share the link with my students, I'm going to open it. Let's see how it looks like from students' perspective. I keep my eye on the questions. All right, so Mu'adh, greetings, Mr. Dai. Hi, Mu'adh, you've been missed. Thank you for the useful information. It's very nice to listen to you again after these years. So thank you very much, my dear. Can you please share with us the link and the recording? Of course, you can find the recording on the QRTA's Facebook page. Here what we have. Thank you very much. Everyone's watching. Thanks a lot. Muhammad and Najjar, thanks a lot. Great tips and simple to use. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Wajdi again, you know my friend, Google tools are amazing, and watch out something if you please. Yes, please. I use Google Forms to make the apps and post tests for the training sessions I implement. I can check if the objectives of each session is achieved or not. Yes, I agree with you. Then this is what is going to appear for the students. So if, for example, you give them the editing, then they can type. So the students, for example, can type. And usually I make that short. So for example, I want you just like to type, let's say a sentence of 8 words, no more than 8 words, no more than 8 words, make the conversation very short. And I keep doing that for all the groups. Now, something that I noticed, and many teachers don't realize, is that when I return back to this, is that how I'm going to keep my students engaged is that they can give feedback to each other. And if I click on this again, if I click on the share again, and then I go here and change, and then I click on it as a commenter, then this will change. And then the students, for example, group B, they will just look at what group A wrote and they will give comments. Group A will look at group B, group C will look at group D, D will look at C, they will give comments to each other. So in the students' engagement, they're engaging in the activity, they're giving feedback, and I can't watch that. Then again, what I need to do is just copy the link. Don't need to copy the link, but they need to refresh it. And then I click done, and then I'm going to show you how it looks like from students' perspective in here. All right. What you can see is that we've got the comment in here. So whatever the students, for example, type in, it will show up as a comment. So this is the comment that the students got, that's the other group, for example, wrote to this group. That's wonderful. Now the third activity, and I do this like 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, like for example, 2 minutes they write, or 3 minutes they write, 2 minutes, for example, they give feedback. And the last thing that I can do with my students, and this activity might take me 10 minutes. If my students find it a bit difficult to type, I'm sorry, I mean to generate language, they're not a problem. I can give them prompted language. I can give them phrases, all right? I can help that. You decide actually, but I've just done it for the purpose of the session. The last thing that you can do here is that you share, and the last thing you can do with your students is just you view it, and then you click on done, you save it. Students can just only view it. They can't type anything, they can't do anything, and then you can share it. And by the way, I forgot to do something that for the Padlet thing is that, again, you can save it as a PDF copy. Once you save it, you can share it with your students. Even if it has, for example, recordings, you can still see that, you can still listen to the recordings if they are saved as PDF copies. Hello, Taraf again. Also for speaking, they can describe the pictures or do the play. Yes, I agree with you. Shaima, can you please say the name of the app again? Which app, sorry? I've just like mentioned 4 apps so far, just for you: Padlet, Screen-O-Matic, Screencast-O-Matic, Zoom, and Google Docs. These are the ones that I've mentioned in here. All right, Shaima now yes, she's saying that this is great, keeps all students engaged. Thank you very much for that. Okay, amazing. So please try to put your questions in here. If you don't put your questions, then when? Seja, hi Seja, Google Docs has an awesome feature. Students can use the audio recording feature to record their conversation instead of writing. Yes, that's, I agree with you, all the apps work back to back together. This is really wonderful. Okay. The last one, Shaima, is Google Docs. Okay, so we come now to the last one. I'm sorry, maybe I'm a bit late. The last one is, again, what I need to do. I need to go again to Google Forms, and this is the last thing, and maybe we can have 5 minutes. I don't know if we have time to do that. But what usually I do is that, for example, I want to do a short listening exercise with my students. Then how can I do it? How can I engage my students? And I know that all ELT, English language teaching experts all over the world, they agree that what makes the task challenging is how you manage it, how you put the questions as a teacher. So for example, I developed something called the power of the 30-second listening exercise. I'm going to share that with you, but first of all, let me show you how you can build an online assessment, online quiz, whatever you can share with your students. You can get the results immediately on the spot. Your students even can practice, because practice makes perfect. Let's see how that's done. Again, you go to the waffle. It's on the top right side. If you click on this one, you scroll down, you need to go to Drive. Tasneem, thanks, Mr. Dai, in Google Docs. There is more involving for students in giving feedback. I agree with you. Thank you very much for this. All right, then you need to go to New. If you click on New and then you scroll down, it's Google Forms. Okay, I'm not going to build the whole assessment, just only one question and just only one question because we don't have time. Then what you need to do, let's say that this is a listening exercise, 30-second exercise, but I've written actually 4 questions, and that was very, very challenging for the students. In this exercise, I want to test the students. Listening skills, but again, I want to focus on some segmental features, segmental and super segmental features, phonological features. That's very, very important. All right, so here, for example, if I just click on this and say listening, all right, listening exercise, if you click on this, it will grab the name immediately. Then what I need to do is just go to the settings here, click on the settings, then this is what you need. Collect email address. If you want, for example, students to put their emails, you can have that, but I'm going to leave it. Limit to 1 response. Sometimes I feel that when this is a quiz, all right, this is not an exercise, this is not a quiz, it's an exercise. That's why I want my students to keep practicing, keep listening to the audio. So I just leave it as is. Presentation, what you can do in the presentation. If you, for example, you share this with your students, but you want to shuffle the questions over, so students don't cheat. So you can click on this. Confirmation message, yes, you can do that. You can say, for example, your answers have been sent to your teacher, thank you very much. And then quizzes, make this as a quiz, immediate after submission. If you want, for example, students to see the results immediately after submission, you can do that. If you want to keep it later on, then no problem. You can just click on later. The students can't see that. We usually do it in quizzes and final exams. And I'm going to keep the other options as they are. All right. And where is that? Okay. Okay. So here I go. Just click again. All right. Make this as a quiz. Sorry, it seems that it hasn't taken it. All right. So here what I do. I'm going to share with you something that I prepared. I'm going to go to Google Forms now. Go to the listening exercise. My students are going to listen only for 30 seconds, and then they are going to answer one question. One question now, but they're going to answer 4 questions. This is like a Rowan Atkinson interview with Elton John. Mr. Bean, if you know, is the famous here. Then what I do here is I want my students to listen to this. Oh, sorry. First of all, I want to upload the video. Add the video here. Again, if you haven't seen that, then there is a bar on the right-hand side. If you go down the bar, you can find add video. If you click on here, you can immediately copy and paste the URL, then search. Once you search, you can click on it and then select. Am I missing any questions? Tasneem, thanks, Mr. Dye in Google Docs. There is more involving. Sorry. Okay, Ibrahim, we do really need a video. Hello, Ibrahim. We do really need a video record and record and edit and on whiteboard and distinct features freely or at 1 year offer. I think that you can still get these for free. There's Microsoft Whiteboard. You can get for free if you have Teams. And by the way, you can get Teams also for free. Then this is what I do is that I'm going to just put this in here, put it in there, right? Then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna maximize it a bit and then show this. I'm gonna put it in the center, all right? And then I'm going to say watch that video and answer the questions below, right? And this is what I have. Then I go to the questions in here. I already prepared the questions. What I need to do is that I'm going to copy this, right? And I paste it here. I want the type of questions here on the right side. I have a selection of what the type of question that I want. I want drop down, for example, and I'm going to focus in here on. You're going to guess now. Let's see. It's going to be, all right. It's going to be R encompassed. It's going to be all though. Oh, sorry. All right. The second option is going to be R. It's going to be encompassed. And it's going to be though. And the third option is going to be R encompassed. And it's going to be although. So what I need to do here is that I need to add the answer key for this. Do you know what's this? Like, for example, good evening and welcome to the National Theatre and the third in our series. And this is the third in our series. Has encompassed. Who will thou? Do you know what's this? This is the questions for the language teachers. Do you know what's this? Yes. Phonology. You're right. What's that? Which feature? Correct. That's intrusion. Linking and intrusion. So for example, who will thou? This is intrusion. What? That's not the issue now here, but this is what I want to test my students. That's what, you know, ELT experts all over the world, they say you can control it, you can arrange it, you can put the task that you see and how that you see more challenging and how to keep flow with your students. So I'm going now to put the answer key in here. Of course, that the answer is the first one. I'm going to give feedback if for example, my students get the answer correct, then I'm going to put well done. All right, if the answer is incorrect, then I'm going to say here, and this is the good thing about it, by the way, when you give feedback, instant feedback, the students can get instant feedback on that. Then listen again and focus on the final consonants, and initial vowels. Wonderful. If I click on save, then the last thing that I need to do, I need to give it a point. So for example, this is 1, don't give 2 or 3, just keep it as 1. All right, and that's it. So I don't need this question to open the question, the last question for me. Done. What you can do, if you click on the preview, it looks like the eye shape in here. Then you can see, for example, how your exam or a quiz looks like. Your students can click on that, they can watch it, and they can see that. Now, the good thing about it is that when you share it with your students, click on send, and then what you need to go to the clip, you click on shorten URL, and then you copy it, and you share it with your students in the chat box and WhatsApp, whatever. I'm going to show you how this is going to look like from students page. Here it is. So here what the students can do, they are going to watch this and then they are going to put. Of course, that's maybe what you need to do is that write your name below. You can add this, you can know what this, who are doing this. Then if the students, for example, click on this, then submit. All right. If let's say another student does this and another student does this. Oh, I'm going beyond. Right, time is going so fast. Let's say that this student got it wrong. This student got it right. Okay, and they submit. Now I want to go back and see, for example, how many students answer this. Now this is my page, 3 responses, 3 students approach this. If I click on responses, then it gives me all the grids. I don't need to do all the Excel spreadsheets on these things. So I have, for example, as you can see here, that I've got 2 students who got it right. I got 1 student who got it wrong. And the good thing about it is that, for example, if I have 20 students, give me all the percentages and numbers. Now, what is more wonderful in this is the, what I found is the Excel spreadsheet. So this is create Excel spreadsheet. I sometimes need to look, for example, if I have 10 questions, and I need to keep this as a record, and you just need to see where my students, didn't do very well in that. Then if I click on create, then here, create a new Excel spreadsheet. I say, yes, create. Then I will be able, for example, to see this. And as you can see that I have it, when my students, for example, approached it, when they did it, here's, for example, the question. All right, let me just wrap it. I go here and here. All right, then I have one, for example, if I have student's name, then the student's name will show up in here. So I have, for example, this student got it right, this student got didn't get it right, this student gets, for example, right. And then I can keep track and can see, for example, what the students have done and what, for example, I need to focus on. If my students haven't got this right, then they have a problem maybe in the, in the listening, and also I need to work maybe on their on some phonological skills. That's all. That's what I wanted to do. Before I go, I might take just 5 minutes looking at your questions, but I'm going to stop sharing my screen in here. Let me just look at the questions. You can find all of these with Microsoft apps. Sabrine says this. Yes, thank you very much for that. All right, let me just go down. Thank you very much for that. All right, I missed the beginning of the session. Noha, hi Noha, you can watch that. It's recorded. You can see that after the session. Listening is activity. Listening, here we have Rauhi. Listening activity is so interesting to students if the instruction is clear enough. Yes, I agree with you. Sometimes you as a teacher, you can make it a bit challenging for students. Dr. Hannah, great job, brother. Thank you very much for that. The pleasure is mine. And that's it. So we don't have lots of questions in here. I think that I've answered all of the questions. Okay, thank you very much for watching. Please, please, please like the video. If you like the video, of course, I hope that you like the video. Please like it. Please comment on it. Please share it. And I hope to see you again in the future. And of course, there's going to be another very, very engaging and interesting session by one of my colleagues next week. And please, please keep following those because we need to come out of this pandemic with something very rigid. الله يعطيكم ألف عافية. شكرا كثير لكم وإن شاء الله بنشوفكم على خير. Have a good night.